Hi everybody, I'm Lily Burghard and I'm the host of News You Need. I'm here with two of my guests. Would y'all introduce y'all with your name, your major, and any student groups that you guys are affiliated with?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Teresa Tuttle. I'm a social work major senior. I'm not really super affiliated anymore, but I was an executive for Golden Eagle Welcome Week, and I served in SGA for a few years. And yeah.
My name is Gracie Solomon. I am a forensic biology major with a minor in criminal justice. And right now, I am the president of the Criminal Justice Student Association and the treasurer for Delta Delta Epsilon, which is the Forensic Science Honor Society.
That's awesome. What hot topics have you guys been talking about? Like, what headlines have been catching your eye? What have you been seeing on social media? What are y'all especially passionate about?
So just being in social work, we kind of have to, keep our eyes on everything. This past week, we talked a lot about the, ICE raids and stuff like that. I had a presentation on it, and then a lot of us went to the recent protests that happened in City Hall on the 30th of January.
Yeah, I guess a big thing in social media is the Epstein files. It's a big
Yeah,
thing
the
that has
Epstein
been
files are huge.
I don't think people
around.
are mad about it enough, honestly.
No, they're not. And they're also not, taking the time to actually read the files, and they're just
oh, it's whatever.
Satan! And it's just kind of
Yeah.
oh.
And a lot of people are just,
Please read it.
turning a blind eye to it and just, not wanting to read it because it's upsetting, but, being upset is how, change happens, and if you just, keep ignoring things, that's, why these things keep happening.
I think a big thing about the Epstein files is that people are automatically like, oh my gosh, Epstein is attached to Madeleine McCann, which is a big
I've
case.
seen that. I have seen that.
People aren't reading the files, and so they aren't seeing that these are just anonymous tips that have been sent into the FBI, which include her name and which include Epstein's name, and so anything that is involved with Epstein are included in these files.
Yeah.
And so they're anonymous tips that aren't exactly, I guess,
Pure fact.
Yes,
Yeah.
fact.
They're not proven yet. They're just
Yeah.
anonymous tips. We don't know the truth of everything, and it needs to be investigated more. I think the problem and the reason that people are going so buck wild with conspiracy theories and just going with the anonymous tips is because it's not being properly investigated, so people feel the need to take things into their own hands.
Because, our own FBI and stuff is, twiddling their thumbs and not really doing anything.
Did you apologize to President Trump?
Right, oh, God forbid. They're just, it's like an actual circus, just, watching them and, lie under oath and, all of this, and don't ever accuse me of lying under oath and all that,
You just lied.
Yeah, but you just did,
You just
and
lied.
it's just a joke, and then so obviously we as people have to, do things our way, and and some people just don't want to and aren't listening. It's really upsetting. It's really sad.
I agree.
And that's why it is important to do your own research rather than just take everything you see on social media as fact.
Especially, and I do think social media can be good, obviously, for news and stuff, but you do have to I think there's that laziness of just not wanting to do your own research and just listen to everything that you hear. And I do think we as humans need to lock back in and start reading again.
Reading and keeping up to date with local news and everything.
Yep. Actually,
That's funny that the Epstein files is the first thing that y'all brought up because it's the first headline that I had down, and it's that Bill Clinton is testifying this morning in the House Epstein file investigation. So yeah, it's Friday before members of Congress who are investigating convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. His quote, Bill Clinton's quote is, "I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong."
And lying under oath again, I think. Well, he also has a history of lying under oath. So are we really gonna take the impeached president's word?
And be like, yeah, of course.
And also what Prince Andrew got arrested.
I was just about to talk about that. Prince Andrew, and then I think it was another prime minister.
Yeah, it was another smaller delegate or whatever. But everybody, but
American, the president.
Who God. Who are we thinking about? I wonder.
I don't know.
Everyone, but I think one of the worst.
Yeah. Both Clintons have actually testified in front of lawmakers. Yesterday, Hillary Clinton testified, and she told lawmakers that she had no knowledge of how Epstein had sexually abused underage girls and had no recollection of even meeting him.
Yeah. See, that's always the excuse they use is that, oh, I didn't remember. But, no, you do. You do. There's pictures of it. You remember. Because Prince Andrew said the same thing. oh, I don't even remember that. And I'm just like, no, you do.
I've never met him.
I took her to Pizza Express. I don't remember that. And I'm just like, no, you remember. You're just...
it's right there.
Y'all think we are actually stupid, and, like, we're not. Like, y'all look ridiculous.
What greater... I feel like I have seen a huge shift in mainstream culture since the Epstein files came out towards just, and this was there before, of course, this has been brewing since the current administration came into power, but there's just a huge distrust and disconnect between the people and their government, and there always has been, but I think that the rift is becoming wider and wider.
Yeah, well, so, okay, maybe, like, this is gonna sound really tinfoil hat. Well, I don't think so, because I honestly think crazy is, like, what we need now, but, like, the Epstein files is the biggest cover-up in American history. Like, if you go through, like, Watergate and, like, Bill Clinton's scandal, this is the biggest cover-up ever. Like, think about it. Like, anytime something with the Epstein files comes out, we're invading a country or something, like, something's happening, and it's just, like, and it's working. Like, it genuinely is working. And I think people are finally starting to see that and, like, see, like, you know, because especially before, like, he got elected, he was all for, like, releasing the files, and then it took, like, a whole year for them to, like, release, like, what little they did, and it was all redacted, and then, just, like, it took, you know, people like us to, you know, start actually going through it, and it was just, like, there's just this huge disconnect, and then all these people are lying, and then you look at the people in office, and you look at them, like, 10 years ago, and their views were so totally different. It's like, they just, like, don't have a mind of their own.
No, it's definitely... Oh, what were you going to say?
Here's something I want to mention. There was a tweet by J.D. Vance, like, not many years ago, where he was like, let's remember that Donald Trump is not a good person. And now let's see how he's acting now.
Yeah. Well,
how quick of a change that is.
The history of J.D. Vance is really funny, because he was, like, a Democrat, and then he got, like, some internship under Peter Thiel, who is, I can't remember the name, but it's, like, with the CIA and stuff, and, like, people surveillance and stuff, and then he just, like, had this, like, crazy shift, and it's all money. It's all money. Who benefits him the most?
100%. I guess power corrupts people. You know, he may have started off with decent intentions, which I don't even know if I believe, but
yeah,
mostly I think what he wants and has always wanted is to climb that ladder.
It's just, like, spineless people in our government who just want to take and take and take, and I'm just like, what happened to, like, and maybe it's never been there, but, like, what happened to, like, people who actually, like, could get in power and actually make a change? And when these good people do try to get in power, they're, like, shot down. Like, immediately, and then they're picked apart, and it's really sad.
Or they end up doing something that's like, oh,
yeah.
Like, I know AOC has voted on some things where I, like, read about it, and I was like,
well, that's the thing is, like, if, let's say, like, if, like, Obama was doing what, like, Trump was doing, he would have gotten, like, impeached, like, probably immediately, like, actually, and, like, convicted and stuff. And, like, if Obama's name came up in the files, like, it would have, but it's all because, like, Trump's, like, you know, this powerful white man who is somehow, like, brainwashed millions of people, and it's, like, needs to be studied. Like, it's, like, actually insane, like, how he has, like, brainwashed, like, genuinely brainwashed these people, and then they think we're brainwashed, and it's, like, it's crazy.
We have Trump derangement syndrome or whatever.
Yeah, or, like...
We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Over the break, Teresa was telling me about a project that she did on the recent ICE raids, and I told her that I wanted to hear more about it once we got back on air. So take it away.
So this was for my Human Rights and Social Justice senior capstone class. Shout out Miss Aderer. So we were given a case that violated human rights, and they're usually all recent, and you have to give a presentation on it, but then you also need to do an above and beyond. So, like, you need to go out into the community and actually do something. So, like, whether this is pamphlets, attending the protest, interviews, stuff like that. So mine was on George Rittis. He is a U.S. citizen, Army veteran, who was wrongfully detained by ICE in July of 2025 at his place of work. He was dragged. They knelt on his neck and back. They pepper sprayed him, tear gassed him, and then detained him for over 72 hours without, like, showering. They wouldn't tell him why he was arrested. And he is Hispanic. They wouldn't tell him why he was arrested. They wouldn't let him contact his attorney, his family. Like, no one knew what was happening. And so he was finally released. They did not tell him nothing. And obviously he's taking them to court. This is still very new, obviously. And so that's what my project was on, and about how his human rights were violated. So I'm not sure if many people know, but the world has, like, human rights. We have multiple articles of, like, what our human rights is. And so my focus was on Article 9, which was no person should be subjected to arbitrary arrest. And then I did some other ones, which was, like, inhumane treatment and torture and stuff like that. And so I presented on him, where, you know, I talked about how this is, you know, impacted him. It's also on video. His arrest is on video. And ICE had said that he was being aggressive, which he wasn't. And so this project was like a deep dive into all of this, as it is very recent. And so ICE and our Border Patrol, like Customs, the organizations over them, do not maintain records. So we have had, I think it was 170 successful, like, deportations of U.S. citizens. But, like, those numbers are, like, so much higher. There was a statistic, I don't remember, but it was, like, 50 of, like, so many people in 2025 were of Hispanic or, like, Latino descent, and they were all, like, racially profiled, but they were all U.S. citizens. And so that's what my focus was, and then my above and beyond was going to the protests, and which I was going to do anyway. I was going to make a pamphlet first, and then they had announced that this protest was coming, and I was like, I think this is our duty as, like, students, and especially social workers, but I think just as humans in general, like, this isn't just, like, some, like, fun, quirky, like, no, this is, like, serious. Like, people are, like, dying, you know, like, people are getting, you know, beat, and, like, no one's safe. Like, they're coming for everybody, you know, and it's, like, it's scary, and it was just very good seeing all these, like, this turnout that was coming. I remember the organizer, he gave a speech, and something that stood out to me that I put in my project was, he said, if you feel small, if you feel hopeless, and if you feel like you can't do anything, that's wrong. And I just thought that was really powerful, because just, like, it does feel like the world's against us, you know, especially being in, like, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, you know, you feel like you can't do anything. But then, like, you realize, like, even if it's a small impact, it still has an impact. And so that's what my project was. It was very long, and I told my peers that this isn't just a project, and, like, this advocacy isn't going to stop here, and that, like, we need to get out there, and, like, yeah.
I understand. Any thoughts on the ICE stuff that you want to share?
Not particularly.
I understand.
This isn't really my
forte. No, that's totally understandable. I recently, so the United Campus Workers Union is putting on a series of 4 courses, and I just went to the one put on by the Southern Law SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center. Yes, SPLC. Okay, Southern Poverty Law Center, and
oh yes, we were told about that.
Yes, she gave an amazing course on Advocacy 101, where she went through the different stages of organizing or educating yourself, or trying to figure out what needs in the community need to be met, and what can be done to meet them, how to come to lawmakers, to make your voice heard, to never backed down. She gave amazing tips. I'm actually writing an article on it for my
That's awesome.
news
Yeah,
writing class.
The law center, they're actually pretty like big. It was we were told about it in class. I wasn't able to go, but it was like a pretty big deal that they were coming down here. And which I think is really good that like these people are like, you know, coming down here. And something I wanted to touch on about the protests was there was like people of like all ages there. What I really loved to see, there was a lot of veterans there. I had a few friends who wanted to go, but they are people of color, so they're, you know, rightfully scared of going, you know, especially since, you know, ICE has been spotted in Hattiesburg and stuff
all
like
over
that.
Mississippi.
Yes, and you know, our governor is just letting them come in, and there was a recent law passed saying that, you know, local officials have to, you know, cooperate with them. And it's just like really sad, but it's showing that like there is still a community there. There was overwhelmingly support, honestly, like the people who drove by and stuff like that. And there were a few like nasty people. Before I got there was someone who had just like drove by just holding a gun, and it was just like,
that's insane.
It was just like, I can't believe you're so, like, we're fighting for you too, you know, like this is for everybody. And it's really upsetting. Like, you're on the wrong side. There shouldn't be a side. There should be all of us together fighting against,
but
you know,
are sides,
this government, this, you know, dare I say Gestapo that is plaguing our country. And, you know, it's really upsetting to still see that there are people. I do like that there are a lot of people waking up. And like there are a lot of people, you know, realizing this is wrong, and like what we've been following for years is wrong.
Absolutely. You were talking earlier about the brainwashing that the current administration has done on the United States civilians, specifically white people.
Middle class, working class.
Middle class, working class white people. And we've talked about this a lot on the show, especially when Dr. Simpson was host, but we talked about a lot how, and this is like my biggest feeling, and I think about this all the time, that Trump came in and he gave these people permission to be mean and to be cruel with a safety net. And so they can go around and they can be the bullies that they've truly always wanted to be, but fear the social repercussions. And now that those social repercussions have been ripped down,
because if our president can do it,
so can they. Whatever. And that's like with the guy with the gun, like he feels safe to go and do
so
that.
much. He's brought out so much hate that was already festering.
But
people didn't want to do it, you know.
It was on the undercurrent.
And now that, you know, he's out there, and Trump could probably kill someone point blank, broad daylight, you know, cold-blooded, and people would not care. They'd probably say they deserved it. And it's like,
I don't think heaven's for me.
I
don't think I'm getting into heaven. Like him coming out and saying that,
or him saying he can't, like he doesn't know if he could uphold the Constitution. What do you mean you don't know?
Or being like, I don't know if we're gonna have another election. It's so in our
face, and it's like
I don't know.
It's so in our face, but like people just don't care because they think he's almighty. And I've seen this like firsthand. Like, I personally didn't come from a MAGA family, and I'm very grateful for that. But like someone very close to me is, and I genuinely did not realize that level of brainwashing was real until I met them, and I was just like flabbergasted because they think he's like the Messiah or something. Like he's genuinely just like this, like Christ, and I'm like,
he's been placed to like prophetic,
and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, he would not give the clothes off of his back. He wouldn't spare you a glance. Like, he does not care about us.
He's also just a piss poor businessman.
He's a terrible businessman.
Businesses have gone under.
How many times have he gone bankrupt? And also like, people will be like, oh, anyone, like, they're like crucifying Bill Clinton because he's a Democrat and he was seen with Epstein, but like not Trump, even though Trump I think was closest to him. And it's just like, so you're okay with like pedophilia now? Like, is that where our morals lie?
And it's so funny that the Pizzagate people who were like alt-right, really, most Pizzagate believers were alt-right, thinking that all the Democrats were the ones sacrificing children. Then it comes out, and it's like, it's kind of a bipartisan thing.
It is.
Like, it's kind of a bipartisan thing to abuse your power to sexually abuse young women and girls. Oh, and suddenly they're silent.
Children. Yes. And it's like, it's so just, it makes me so disgusted that like we have stooped so low that we can't even hold our own president accountable. And then like the people who do, oh, y'all are brainwashed, or y'all are these liberals or whatever. I got told I was wearing an old booger ring because, well, I'm sorry, I like care about human rights. Like, it's kind of crazy. Facebook is crazy, y'all.
Old booger ring. Is that like your nose ring?
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're
under
talking about?
the comments, if y'all go to Facebook under the SM2 about the protests, I am in there trolling.
Yes, I saw that. I saw you.
Because I think it's really funny. And Yeah, I got blocked by a few people because they didn't like that I was spitting truth, I guess. But someone was like, "Do they just hand out nose rings at this event?" I said, "Yeah, your mom was first in line," and I got blocked. So like, and it's just like, why are we like attacking like any like alt or like just Gen Z or whatever person, and like even people within Gen Z are like still, you know, very alt right.
Yes,
know, many. But I will say, like, the
Turning Point
overwhelming
USA on campus is
they tried to hand me something one time, and I looked at, because they and I quote go, "I'd love to hear y'all's opinion." What do you mean y'all's opinion?
Like, what does that mean?
I took it and I looked at it. I said, "Oh my god, yeah, Nazism," and I was like, "Okay, dope." And then I just like left. I was just, and she just like stared at me, and the what I've seen they do on like our specific like TP, you know, Toilet Paper USA, is they will always have like a person of color that supports them, like standing front and center to like psych people in.
To be like, I'm not a Nazi.
Yes.
We aren't Nazis.
Yes.
See?
And I'm just like, oh my god.
I'm going to throw a couple of headlines at y'all because there's been some stuff that caught my eye this morning. So Mississippi's black voters brace for an elections ruling that could gut their power on the state Supreme Court. Yeah. So they just won a victory to where they got some district lines redrawn. But it's looking, based off of a case that's coming out of Louisiana, it's looking like those lines could be redrawn again, and they could lose the win that they just got, which is insane because Mississippi has, and it's disproportionately affecting black people in Mississippi who want to run for Congress because their chances of being elected with the way that the lines are drawn are slim.
Yeah, well, that's why they're doing it.
Exactly.
Like to keep these people, you know, out and keep the white man in.
And I think that our state population mix up, I think it's a 37% black people, which is the highest percentage of black people living in one state. And we still...
And we're putting our population down.
Garbage.
Yeah, we're putting our population down.
Almost half
these people who
of our population down.
Who have, I think they know more than us about, you know, like what this state needs. They've seen the corruption more than like I have, and we're like just putting them down.
They've seen the truth behind the veneer for hundreds of years, and it's like we need to. It's just disgusting. I just learned about that this morning, and I was like,
it's really sad. It's really sad.
Because I had heard about the win, and it was like, yay.
And then only for it to be taken away again. Yeah.
And then federal prisons bar gender-affirming care for trans people. So the federal prison system will stop providing gender-affirming medical or social transition care, and they will also start putting them through what many are calling conversion therapy, but they will be weaning people in prisons off of their hormones.
That's so sad.
They will be restricting, you cannot use commissary for any gender-affirming clothing, any kind of cosmetics, anything really, and the transgender people will be put into different forms of therapy and put on different medications like antidepressants.
They think they're sick.
Meds.
They think, you know, transgender queer people are sick, and that's just like not the case. It's because like they're just different, and it's really sad. Did you see? I think it's Kansas.
I didn't, but we're gonna take a break really fast.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, it's not your fault at all. We just need to do a quick PSA. We'll be right back. You mentioned prison stuff. Is there any points that you'd like to make about recent things you've been talking about in class?
So I know that specifically in Alabama, there is a big controversy with the prison system that is happening there. They are mistreating their prisoners. That happens everywhere. Like, don't even get me started about that. But specifically in Alabama, they are cramped. I guess their officers and their guards in prisons are like beating their prisoners and like actively like killing their prisoners, and they're not getting any repercussions for it.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to what Rankin County recently.
And in
the Goon Squad.
The Goon Squad in Rankin County, and then Parchment up in the Delta.
It's so like, especially in southern states, because they just don't get the funding for prisons.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them are underpaid and then abuse of power too.
And one big thing that is happening in Alabama is they just got funding that they took from the school district to build, I think, 3 mega prisons all throughout Alabama, instead of, I guess, expanding and making smaller prisons to distribute their prisoners. Yeah. They're making mega prisons and then demolishing their already built prisons.
Well, like, just like, obviously, again, I'm going to pull the social worker card. Prisons are just a way for, like, modern day slavery.
I was just about to talk about the 13.
Prisons are just, like, actually horrendous, and they're so... Do I think... Now, like, personally, I think there's some offenses people can commit that I do think, like, you are an actual danger to society, but, like, I think the overwhelmingly majority, especially with most prison populations, are people of color.
Exactly, and it's purposeful.
It's purposeful. It is, and
structural.
Yeah, it's systematic, and it's just like prisons are just like they're terrible, and they'll fund them, or they won't get funding, or they'll like fund like the small mega prisons instead of like actually like trying to like fund reform and like help these people, which is what they need.
And the worst part is that our economy kind of leans on it, on the prison system to make goods for pennies or for free.
Yes.
And it's absolutely disgusting.
It's just modern day slavery.
And it speaks to the greater corruption that occurs in the United States. To kind of segue about corruption, let's talk about Pentagon standoff with Anthropic, which is an AI company. The Pentagon wants to use a classified version of Anthropic's AI model, Claude. And the company, Anthropic, they want to embed safeguards to prevent its use for mass domestic surveillance of Americans or in fully autonomous weapons with no humans in the loop. But the Pentagon has said that it has no plans to use that technology for the purposes, but that they don't want those safeguard rails. So they're having kind of a disagreement. And they're saying, the Pentagon, their argument is that they don't let manufacturers of missiles tell them where to put their missiles. So why should they let this AI company tell them what to do?
I think that's just so in our face that they just do not care about us.
They do not. It's and just the AI stuff in general is just really scary.
That, especially as an artist, like AI makes me just really mad. Like AI art.
I think that there's ways where it could have been utilized in a useful way.
But we're humans and they're gonna take advantage of it. That's just what they do. Especially seeing what's like happening in like South Haven, Mississippi, when they're building like the giant AI mega centers or whatever, and then it's just like especially Mississippi actually has the highest like AI centers in America because we have so much land.
We think we're just rural,
and it's just like killing people's like neighborhoods and stuff.
Alrighty, and we are about to wrap up. Do y'all have any closing thoughts?
Not particularly.
Keep speaking your mind.
Absolutely.
Silence is not going to get us anywhere, and if you feel small, you're not.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Thank you, Gracie. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you to our video producer, Isabella Michaud, and our audio engineer, Liam Keenan. This has been News You Need.